Alright, the Nordberg Railway Equipment Division Surface Rail Grinder Instruction Parts and Manual, Nordberg Manufacturing Company, 3073 South Chase Avenue, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, USA. Copyright 1967. Model number and serial number not available. Introduction: Nordberg Surface Railway Grinder, the Precision One-Man Lightweight unit designed for the surface grinding of the rail wheel, whereas easy operation compact design make it an economical using the traffic congested as well as the open area. The surface rail grinder can be utilized with the surface rail ends built up the weld, removing the middle tolerance with the rail leveling cropped rail, grinding out the welded wheel burns, removing the irregularities, hardening rail ends. Surface rail grinder can be easily placed and ended, remove the rails by one man. Positive adjustment of the grinding wheel enables the operator to precision grind without gouging or skipping. The surface rail grinder is constructed so the operator can view the rail surface during the grinding operation, make necessary adjustments to the grinding wheel without stopping the engine. All items requiring surface are readily accessible, eliminating cost down to time. Use this manual as a guide to proper operation and care and maintenance of the surface rail grinder. The only genuine replacement part of the Nordberg Parts Department will continue satisfactory operation. The replacement parts were manufactured with the same skill, precision, original equipment. To be sure to specify the model number and the serial number of the unit with the correct part number when ordering replacement parts. Safety precautions: be sure the spark shields are during the grinding operation. Sparks sufficiently hot to ignite the clothing or sufficient to ignite clothing or burn the operator. Safety precautions: always lower the frame support when holding the unit to prevent it falling and causing the injury damage. Drain the gas tank, engine crankcase, and air cleaner before tilting the unit to perform any surface maintenance procedures. Do not fill gas tank while engine is running or hot operation. You may be sure the area of which you are working has sufficient ventilation to disperse engine gas, exhaust gases. Be sure no one is behind you when you are using the rope starter. Always remove the spark plug before attempting to adjust and maintenance work of preventing the engine from starting accidentally. To avoid contact exhaust muffler during operation, wait until it is cooled. For your specification: general dimension: length 58 inches, width 20 inches, height 28 inches, wheelbase 43 inches, total weight approximately 285 pounds. And the specification: Briggs Stratton Model 23 FB, operating speed 3,300 RPMs, grinding wheel specification recommended. Make Norton number to 14 course all-dome abrasive number 48, structure of the resinoid bond, size diameter 8 inches, wall 2 inches bore, 1 3/8 of an inch, wheel speed recommended engine operation speed 3,300 RPMs or 692 SFPM. Bevel gear black / 3/1000 of an inch to 5,000 of an inch. Lubricating specification: spindle housing, Texaco station C or equivalent capacity 1/2 pint. Engine lubrication refer to manufacturer instructions. Operation: the Nordberg Surface Rail Grinder can easily be operated surface with one man. Carefully reading the following instruction outlined in this book. Accompanying the engine instruction will benefit the operator ensuring the obtaining of the long surface of the life was built in the surface rail grinder. Preparing the surface rail grinder for the operation: surface rail grinder must be prepared for the operation as follows. Check the surface rail grinder for any missing parts or parts that may have been damaged. Stand for the unit upright and the frame support. Check the engine crankcase. Fill the crankcase and necessary with the oil proper to type of viscosity. Refer to manufacturer instruction. Check the air cleaner bowl with the fuzzy with the proper level with the same type of the oil within the crankcase. If necessary, refer to the manufacturer's instruction. Remove the level plug of the spindle housing. Check the lubrication is up to the level plug of lubricating necessary until the flow is out with the level plug open. Refer to page 4. Check for the breathing hole in the gas tank cap is open, and the fill is the gas tank. Read the manufacturer instruction for starting the engine. Grinding operation: although the grinding procedures may vary, slightly different type of the grinding operations follow the basic steps will enable the operator to familiarize himself with the surface grinder. The youth develop expert technique grinding operation. Read and observe the safety precaution listed in the front of the manual. Place the surface rail grinder on the rail. Lower the frame support to hold the unit upright. Lower the sparking deflecting shield. Start the engine and describe the manufacturer bulletin. Lower the lifting handle slowly. Check the leading edge of the grind wheel just clears the rail. Rephrase the lower of the grinding wheel with adjusting the wheel until the grinding wheel just clears the rail. When the leading edge of the grind wheel just clears the rail, the trailing edge will clear the rail. Approximately 1/8 of an inch brace the surface of the rail grinder securely to prevent it from falling. The brace with the frame support and lock it up in position. Up using the combination of forward and backward motions coupled with a slight rocking the motion of grinding the wheel. Use the combination forward backward rocking motion while grinding the wheel to original contour, preventing the flat and rough spots. After the few passes, it may be necessary to lower the grind wheel with adjustment wheel does that gradually until the surface becomes ground and flush with a good rail. Observe the rail surface during the grinding operation. The surface rail grinder is designed so that operators can see surface during the operation control unit accordingly. Use a long straight edge, checking the edge of the rail surface has been grinded out, and any of the rough spots or irregularities necessary. Recheck the surface with the straight edge. All right, this shows your figure 1, your railway grinding tool. 10. Back adjust the wheels off one turn and then proceed with the next portion of the rail. Stop the grind. Repeat the preceding steps. The rail should be slotted after the grinding operation. Ensure there's sufficient space and expansion. Alright, maintenance. General. Preventive maintenance is most important, but the function of the operative with perform the surface rail grinder. All machines are dependent upon the proper regulation and maintenance of every moving part, economically efficient operation. Normal Nordberg surface rail grinder has been designed a minimum amount of surface requirements to save time and avoid necessary delays. Operator, however, the important of few items requiring surface carefully, properly secured as described in the manual for engine maintenance. Refer to the engine manufacturer instruction. Lubrication. Refer to the manufacturer instruction, engine lubrication instruction. And the spindle assembly of the surface rail grinder is filled with lubricant at the factory. Only requires occasional checks to be sure the lubrication level is up to the level plug opening. Be sure the vent of the filler plug opening is kept open and free of dirt and foreign material. On each section of the spindle housing should be drained with the flush and refilled with the lubricant as follows. Drain the gas tank, engine crankcase, air cleaner. Remove this level plug, filter plug with the spindle house. When all lubricating is drained with the level plug open until the unit and spindle housing is drained as completely as possible. Flush out the spindle housing thoroughly with gasoline, kerosene to stand upright, sand the unit upright. Pour Texaco stays in C or equivalently through the filter opening until the lubrication flows out of the level plug opening. 6. Install the level plug, wipe the unit and clean over the excess lubrication. Install the air vent filter, filler plugs, refill the engine, gas tank, air cleaner, and crankcase. Replace the grinding wheels. When the grinding wheel has worn, thickness of 1/2 inch must be replaced with a new one with the specification listed in section 1. Refer to all the parts in section of this manual. Recommended procedure for the replacing the grinding wheel: to drain the engine, gas tank, air cleaner, and crankcase. Stand the unit on its end. Turn the grind wheel firmly to prevent from turning and removing the 4 cap screws holding the grinding wheel to the flange of the spindle shaft. 4. Remove the worn grinding wheel, carefully align with the holes in the new grinding wheel with the holes in the spindle shaft flange. Install 4 cap screws, lock washer, tighten diagonally opposite cap screw, evenly progressive. Stand unit upright with the aid of the frame support. Adjust the grind wheel with the rail surface, adjusting the wheel. Refer to page 2. Refill the engine, gas tank, air cleaner, and crankcase. Dressing the wheels. A new grinding wheel is ready to use after the properly installed new wheel dressing required in initial use. However, it becomes necessary to dress the grinding wheel from time to time after what has been in operation. It becomes apparent that the grinding wheel requires dressing with grease. The performance irregularity pattern produced by the dull-loaded grooved grind wheels required dressing. Dress from grind wheel proceeds as follows. Raise the unit and the grinding wheel is readily accessible. Start the running engine with the correct operation speed. Dress the wheel in the contour of the dressing tool provided. Remove all the build-up irregularity with the cutting edge. Remove the assembly of the spindle assembly. Keep the work area as clean as possible. Service the surface rail grinder. Cleanliness is the most important tool of the surfacing of the machinery. To remove the assembly spindle of the assembly engine spindle assembly must be removed as a unit. Trim the spindle housing, air cleaner, engine crankcase, fuel system completely. Stand upright with the frame support, block and support the spindle assembly engine so that it will not move while removing the mounting blocks. While not removing the mounting blocks. Turn adjusting wheel until the grinding wheel is maximum up position. Remove the engine, exhaust muffler, and air cleaner. Remove the 4 engine molded mounting box and mounting bolts and spindle housing mounting bolt. Lift the engine and spindle assembly out of the frame of the unit. Remove the cap screws holding the spindle housing of the engine. Carefully separate the spindle housing from the engine, preventing the damage from any parts. Note that for any of the service maintaining the maintenance performed by the engine, refer to the manufacturer's instruction. 10. Remove the grinding wheel from the spline and shaft flange. Remove the retaining spring for the upper flexible tube. Compress the tube so that the retaining ring is accessible. Remove the retaining ring. Pull the spline shaft flange out of the spin spline shaft nut assembly through the opening of the housing. And take care of the cotter pin out of the spline shaft and nut. Remove the nut. Take the bearing spacer with the shim can all be removed with the spline shaft. Pull the spline shaft out through the bottom of the housing. Remove the round head screws holding the dust shields in place. Remove the dust shields. Remove back out of the set screws. Remove the collar instead of the lower end of the sleeve. Alright, this shows a drawing of your grinder. It's a little bit hard to read, so I'm just going to skip it. Alright, remove the retaining ring lower end of the spindle housing. Hold the gear housing assembly with the side opening. Remove the lower bearing to the oil seal. The seal rings vertical shaft seal out through the bottom of the spindle housing. Remove the bearing housing assembly. Can be now removed the side opening. Remove the vertical shaft bevel gear, the back off the collar. Set screw. Remove the red collar. Remove the retaining ring behind the bearings. Then the gear bearing shift that are now free with being removed. The 22. The horizontal shaft gear is also free to be removed. However, the bearing is to be removed. It will be necessary to first remove the thread collar. Inspection of spindle assembly parts. Clean all the parts in order to inspection properly. Check all the bearings to be sure that they are not worn, damaged in any way. Replace any of the bearings doubtful condition, even if only the precautionary measure. The inspect oil seal ring to ensure that it is not damaged and leaking. It is a good practice to replace oil seals each time the unit is disassembled. Inspect the bevel gears cracked, broken, chipped, worn green, or teeth remaining on the surface. Replace any gears that are found with worn, damaged. Inspecting O-ring with the spindle belt with the housing to ensure it is not damaged or leaking. Replacing it if necessary. Check the flexible tubes damaged and leaks. Replace if necessary. Carefully inspect the spline shaft with the spindle sleeve, the cracks, chips, and broken the worn splines. Replace the parts that be defective. Inspect the springs. Replace any of the found to be broken or deformed. 8. Inspection washer bushings, the casting, the cracking, chips, the burrs, and any other evidence where the damage. Replace any parts found to be defective. Reassembly installation of the spindle assembly. After all the parts have been thoroughly cleaned, inspect all the defective parts. Replace the spindle assembly may be reassembled as follows. To install the vertical shaft gear, place the housing shim of the housing, then place one of the gear shims on vertical shaft gear hub. Install the bearing, then insert the gear of the hub of the bearing. Place the second gear shim on the top of the bearing and install the retaining ring. Thread the collar on the housing tight against the bearing and lock it in place and tighten the locking set screws. Caution: to replace on replacement collar, the tapped hole in which the set screw is threaded should be stacked and just enough to prevent the set screw from accidentally backing all the way out. Do not upset the thread hole to such an extent that the set screw is no longer adjustable. To install the horizontal shaft gear, the position of the bearing of the horizontal shaft of the gear hub, then inserting the gear and the bearing in the housing. Note: the housing must also always be used in assembly whenever the original gear housing is used. The new housing is purchased. The new shim will be furnished with the housing. The old shim should be discarded. The same is true for the gear shims. The next set of gears is to be used. Old gear shims are to be discarded, and the shims are furnished with the new gears to be used. Alright, 5. The thread collar into the housing and with all the play, remove and tighten the collar until there is 3/1000 of an inch mating backlash between the gears. 6. Secure the collar and place and tighten the locking screws. 7. The remainder of the component parts can be installed reversing disassembly procedure. Caution on replacement cards, taps, holes in which the set screws are threaded should be stacked and described as step 3. Alright, instructions ordering repair parts. The part book identifies all the parts composed by the Nordberg railway machine in 3 ways. Part 1, buying part number 1, buying part number name, by part name, and 3 by appearance. Part listing contains the breakdown of the equipment into the major assemblies, sub-assemblies, detailed parts, identify the part with the appearance of each of the part is indexed in an illustration assembly, which is part of the first column of the part list contains the item number that serves the cross-reference listed part of the same parts as illustrated. Indentation of a part of the described column to indicate the relationship of the part to the assembly in which it is part. For example, any part identified beneath an assembly is available either as a detailed part or a portion of the assembly under this indented unless the specified NP are not procurable security separately. Quantities. Quantity listed determined as follows. The quantity listed assembly indicate the number of these assemblies used per machine. The exemption of sub-assemblies which are treated as detailed parts. The quantity listed detailed parts indicates the number of these detailed parts used per assembly. Prompt service information. When ordering, always include the following information: machine serial number, the machine nameplate, the exact quantity of the assembly, detailed parts as desired. And find these parts with the part number, the part name, specify the method of shipment desired. Rush orders. Shipment and repair parts are urgently needed to make out the separate order for the need for the parts forward the rush order separately from any other order requesting separate shipment. To avoid delays, please avoid reference to the other matters and letters. Forwardly primary ordering repair parts. Forward all repair orders to the following address: Nordic P.O. Box 1562, Milwaukee, Wisconsin 53201. Fax 414-481-3199 or 414-769-4607-4608.